Me and my friend, we were returning back home and it was approx 9:30 p.m. in the evening. While driving, I saw there were two bulls were fighting on the road and suddenly somehow fighting, they crossed the roads. One among them, he just bumped into our car.
When Bikaner's Karnee Bishnoi was airlifted to a superspeciality hospital in South Delhi, he was on life support. Doctors knew he had a very bad injury from a bull attack, but what they saw was worse.
There was a lot of material in his mouth, and after a little bit of look into it, we understood that this was not just a simple foreign material, it was actually his brain which was coming out of his mouth.
For the doctors, saving his life was first priority, but not the only one. They also had to make efforts to piece together whatever remained of his skull and face.
The two main things, the first main thing was to save his life, because obviously he had a bad brain injury which was communicating with outside, and as you know, brain is supposed to be encased in the skull. It's not supposed to be exposed to outside, because any part of the brain, if it gets exposed to outside, then it can get infected and then the patient can die. So the first thing is to basically seal off the brain from the rest of the cavity. So that's part of saving his life. And then it's all about piecing everything together back again, because his face was literally in 20, 30 pieces. Everything was torn apart because of the injury.
On that fateful day of September 3, 2020, Karnee was driving home with her friend when he was attacked by a bull. The bull's horn lacerated Karnee's lips, smashed his nose, gouged out the right eyeball, and the frontal lobe of his brain came out. He was taken to a local hospital where doctors stopped the bleeding and quickly referred him to Delhi. Once his condition stabilized, doctors then had the challenge of restoring his face.
I personally think he's better than my expectation. I never expected him to be absolutely normal, because obviously his injury is so serious. He lost his right eye as well. So obviously we cannot replace his eye, but we are planning that eventually we'll be able to create a socket in which we can put an artificial eye for cosmetic reasons. But I think the idea was to give him a human face. The idea was to give him a face which he can live with dignity.
The facial reconstruction was done in two parts. In the first part, major reconstruction surgeries were done. First, the damaged portion of brain was sucked out and the brain's outer membrane was repaired. Then, a part of the skull was split in two layers. One layer was put back and the other was used as replacement for a missing part of skull. Part of muscles used for chewing was transplanted into the empty eye socket to prevent the brain from herniating into it. In a 9-hour operation, doctors then pieced together his lips and nose that were crushed into 6 and 20 parts respectively. In the second stage of facial reconstruction, done after a few months, the aim was to provide movement to various facial muscles. Using sutures as thin as human hair, surgeons connected muscles of two sides of his forehead to allow him to move his forehead. His nose was carved out using his rib cartilage. Tissues from the thighs were used to reconstruct the right side of his face. The complex face reconstructive surgeries have ensured that apart from his right eye, almost all features of his face have been restored to near normal.
Sir, it is the support of my family only I'm at this stage of recovery, because they did everything what they can. Means my sister, my mother, my father, all were there standing by my side, making me eat, making me sleep on time, take my pills on time. Every schedule they have maintained and they have taken good care of me. So that made me recover faster.
Karnee is a very courageous man.
For a young man living a comfortable life, the horrendous freak bull attack was a bolt from the blue. However, Karnee can thank his stars that with prompt medical attention and the support of his family, he is back to leading his normal life.
Basically, you should have a strong willpower so that whatever is being done, you should also cooperate with that, and that will make things move for you. You can achieve wonders if you do that. And especially to the doctors, they are no less than God, I can say. I've seen that miracle happen for me itself, so I believe that thing now.
A Times online report.